What's up, guys? Welcome back. In this video we're looking at Bring It On Home by Led Zeppelin, a song that is a great mix of very traditional blues and then kind of blues rock. They have a bunch of songs like that that kind of split two genres and always adds a lot of interest and contrast to their tunes. So the blues section is very straightforward. We'll have a couple things to talk about here and then a couple fun little rock riffs to play. So very traditional blues shuffle in E. The most basic shuffle, I guess, is going to be your lower string being open. So in this case we're doing open E here. And then I've got my index finger on string 5 fret 2, and then my ring finger is going to be bouncing back and forth on and off of string 5 fret 4. So that, turn that down a little bit. That's the basis of the shuffle riff if you haven't done blues before. And that's the first thing that you would learn in terms of blues shuffle riffs. So all we're doing is adding this little triplet in on beat 4, so it's going to sound like this. So I'm playing string 6 fret 3 with my middle finger, and then hammering on excuse me, to string 6 fret 4 with my ring finger, all the while leaving that first finger in place, because that is going to be the third note of that triplet. So it's string 6 fret 3, string 6 fret 4, string 5 fret 2, and my finger will already be in place there. So not lifting this, pick, hammer on, pick. Now in the intro, I was playing it with palm mute, which is very common as well. You could choose to do that or not. In the recording, in the original recording, it's kind of distorted. I can't remember off the top of my head if it's palm muted or not, but I think both sounds would work as long as you have your amp tone and sound adjusted. So the song starts out with a very long vamp. If you're not familiar with what a vamp is, it's going to be like a 1 chord or 2 chord, very short little riff or chord idea being repeated over and over, and then a vocalist or another instrument kind of solos on top, and it's just like an introduction to the tune, kind of open-ended though, and you'll hear that in the recording. Robert Plant is just kind of doing his little form of scatting and moaning, and then a little bit of harmonica playing as well. So once he starts singing, then he gets into the blues form. And the blues form for this song is basically like our traditional 12-bar blues form times 2. So what I mean by that is traditional 12-bar blues would be E for 4 bars. So we would do that 4 times, and then it would be A for 2 bars, and then E for 2 bars, and then B, A, and E, and here they do E for 2 more bars there instead of going with the turnaround. But it's basically all of that times 2. We're not going to dig too deep into the 12-bar blues form. Go to the blues lessons to learn about that if you need a refresher. But just so you have an idea of what the form is, because the song form is always important. So it's basically traditional 12-bar blues times 2, more or less. The main difference would be that the last 8 bars, instead of being twice as many measures on the B and twice as many measures on the A, so on and so forth, you just repeat that line. So it's B for 1 measure, A for 1 measure, and E for 2. And then you would repeat all of that, right? Okay, so for the A riff, it's exactly the same thing as the E riff. just move everything towards the floor, one string. So string 5 open, and now my left hand, fingers 1 and 3 are going to be on the 2nd and 4th frets of string 4. And then same little hammer on there, string 5 fret 3, string 5 fret 4, string 4 fret 2, never letting that go. Okay. For the B riff, we change our position. We jump all the way up here to frets 7 and 9, so we jump into a little basic power chord shape, string 6 fret 7 and string 5 fret 9. And then we're going to use our pinky to kind of hinge or swing and bounce off of string 5 fret 11. So we get that same shuffle pattern sound. We don't have the triplet in here. You know, the setup of the hand in this shuffle pattern doesn't really allow for that to happen. But one thing that's important is, I was mentioning this in another video recently, you want this finger to lay kind of flat. You don't want to over curl it, because if you do, it's going to feel very difficult to reach with these fingers. Okay? So the first time you try it, it's definitely going to feel more difficult than it will be eventually. But it's important to remember that you have a lot of mobility here, right? A lot of people just try to hold a position and they get really tense, and then their fingers are so locked up they have no flexibility or dexterity, and they feel like they can't do it. So kind of going back to that conversation of only using an optimal amount or necessary amount of tension to do the things that you want to do, and trying to relax as much as possible. So I like to talk about that kind of swinging, right? The thumb is very important here. My thumb is in between, more or less, a little closer to my index, but in between my index and ring finger there to balance the hand out. If my thumb were to drift to the outside of my index finger, then things start to become very awkward and tense, and I get very locked up here. So watch that thumb position, and just don't press harder than you have to, right? And feel this ability to swing, okay? So anyways, the B shuffle, that's power chord shape there, frets 7 and 9, and then I'm on string 5, fret 11 there. It's going to be the same thing for the A at this point. We're just going to slide down 2 frets, and then we're back to E. All right, that's basically everything for the kind of traditional blues section, as I'm calling it. So I'm going to play all the way through that, just so you can hear that. I think it only goes through that form once, and then it goes into the kind of rock theme. All right, so here we go, all the way through the full traditional blues section. So starting with E. Buckle in, because we gotta do this a lot more. This is the 6th time, 7th, 8th, A, 4 times. Back to E, 4 times. Let it ring, and then you can go turn your volume up to get to the more distorted part here. So that's it for that section. Then it goes into the rock and roll part. So 2 riffs here, and yeah, let's just jump right into it. So string 5 open, string 5 fret 2, string 4 open, string 4 fret 2, and I'm using my middle finger, finger 2 for both of those. And I'm picking down, up, and then string 6 open, down. Then I'm going to place fingers 2 and 1 on string 3 here. I'm on the 2nd fret with finger 2 and the 1st fret on with finger 1 on the 3rd string, and I'm going to bend. And then when I come back down, I'm going to pick fret 2, fret 1, fret 2, fret 1, string 4, fret 2. All right, again, that was bend. I believe there's a whole step bend there. So bend a full step. I'm using both of those fingers. You don't have to isolate one finger. That can make you lose a lot of leverage, right? Compact hand shape here. I'm using that thumb as well. Bend that a full step. And then 2, 1, 2, 1 on that 3rd string. String 4, fret 2. Then we repeat that. String 5 open, string 5 fret 2, string 4 open, string 4 fret 2, open 6, and bend 2, 1, 2. So I end on string 3 fret 2 there instead of that we did the first time. It's okay. So all together. Pick everything. Don't do hammer-ons here. You can hear very clearly that he's picking those notes. And that's just a good thing to work on for syncing up the left and the right hands and getting them to operate with good timing. A little bit quicker on that. So specifically what I'm picking is down, up, down, up, down. Down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, 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 up, down. Almost exclusively alternate picking, right? So good thing to get comfortable with that riff if you are not comfortable yet with alternate picking kind of being your foundation for picking. All right, and then this next is a little bit more tricky because we're using these little dyads here. I'll walk you through the fingering that I use. I've also talked about a little bit of string muting. So starts at string 4 fret 3, middle finger there, finger 2, string 2, sorry, I think I said that wrong, string 3 fret 4 with finger 2, and string 2 fret 3 with finger 1. It's just those 2 strings. And I'm going to strum that down and up. So good work on directing the pick to a specific set of strings. I know that's something that a lot of beginners and intermediates struggle with. Again, just small movements, small motions, right? So we strum that down, up, and then mute it. And then I'm going to slide my middle finger down to the 2nd fret of string 3. So it just stays on that string. And I'm going to put my ring finger down on string 2 fret 2. So I strum those same 2 strings down, up, and mute it. Then I put finger 1 on string 3 fret 1, and I have open string 2. And I mute that immediately. And then up one last time. I'm going to grab the 3rd fret of string 6, and I'm going to put a little bend on that, a little curl, and then release, not a pull off, but take my finger off and pick these open 6 string, and then a repeat. lightly touch the strings and cut that sound off. And just practicing it slow like that will allow you to deal with kind of the perceived complications of directing your pick to only strings 2 and 3 and not getting unwanted sounds. Now, another safeguard for that is to position your fingers in a way that you're muting the next adjacent string. So I have fingers 1 and 2 on my 3rd and 4th frets there, and I'm just kind of leaning my index finger down slightly, right, to try and feel for that first string, to have that muted, and then my middle finger just kind of pushing up a little bit, not pushing the string, kind of rolling on my fingertip, right, to get that 4th string. And that's just another safeguard. I don't necessarily want to depend on that and just go across all my strings. In some instances we would do that, but it's just kind of a little safety net, like I said. But I'm still going to direct my pick to those 2 strings, okay? Then I slide down to the 2nd fret on both of those strings. Same business. I'm trying to mute with my middle finger the 4th string and the 1st string with my ring finger. And then when we get to this last one, I can still mute the 1st string with kind of the loose skin of my index finger there, and I can also roll it up and catch that 4th string as well. It may not be perfect, but like I said, make the your main focus to direct the pick to the strings that you want to play, and then if you can get that left hand to start working for you, that's a nice bonus, because we tend to use that quite a bit on guitar. Okay, and then that was finger 2 on string 6. Not wiggling it like that, but just a nice slow curl, and then the open string. What was the other thing that I wanted to say about that? It's always important to look for guide fingers. So using fingers 1 and 2 here, and then that middle finger is a guide finger because it's staying on the 3rd string and just moving to a different fret. That makes transitions so much easier, right? Take advantage of that. The instinct that definitely beginners have, and a lot of intermediates too, is just to lift that hand up. And if that is the thing that you're programming into your muscle memory, then you're just going to keep on doing it, and it makes things feel very hard. So finding the easy path, right? I think that is it. We just got to talk about the ending. Oh, and as far as the fingering there are some other options. That's what I recommend. I tend to use guide fingers, like I said, and try to lean on my strong fingers if possible. Just doing what makes sense, finding the thing that makes sense. So if I have to get my pinky in there, I'm going to do it if it's going to make things a lot easier, and that's a good thing to train. But anyways, point being, it's not the only fingering that you could use, right? And the little ending, we come back to the B riff here. A, E, jump back up to B, A, and then we have this little ending. I believe they're doing it fingerstyle. I just modified it to be these 2 strings, which is a common way of playing it as well. I've got finger 1 on string 2 fret 9, and I've got finger 4 on string 1 fret 12, and I'm going to pick this in little groups of 3, down on string 2, up on string 1, down on string 2. Then I'm going to move my index finger up to fret 10, same thing, down, up, down. And then I'm going to put my middle finger on string 2 fret 11, down, up, down, and then my ring finger or middle finger, whatever you want there, on string 2 fret 12. So that is, okay, very common little turnaround for the blues. And then go all the way down to first position for an E7 chord. And I only play that to the second string. So that's string 6 open, string 5 fret 2, string 4 open, string 3 fret 1. That's with my index and middle fingers there. And then I have nothing with my ring finger, although it might look like it. My pinky, finger 4, on string 2 fret 3, and I just play that string. I don't go to the first string, just the way that I'm hearing it. That's it, guys. It's a nice, I guess, introduction to blues as far as songs go, because you get the blues side of it and you get the rock side of it. You've got these little dyads to play around with. You've got a nice little bend with a riff, good alternate picking exercise. You know, majority of this is in open position, which is great, or first position, however you want to think of that. And then we also get this little kind of stretched out shuffle position. So lots of great takeaways from the song. Take your time with it if it's new. If you've been playing blues and you haven't played this song, it's just a fun one to play and an easy one to pick up. So have fun and see you in the next video. Thanks.